Hey there, Mama, and welcome back to the Moms Overcoming Overwhelm podcast. And this is a special bonus episode. So this is the 11th episode of Coffee and Tea with M&E with my friend Michelle Byrd from the Busy Vibrant Mom podcast. And we are talking about transitional things today, as far as I have potentially an upcoming move coming up. So not able to put kids in camp for the summer, and what is it going to look like trying to get work done at home when kids are there. Also, the snow days we've been having, you can probably relate. And then also creating a loose plan when you don't have all the pieces of the puzzle in place, and also helping kids navigate transition. So I hope you really appreciate and love this conversation between me and my friend Michelle.
Hey friends, we are back with another episode of Coffee and Tea with M&E. Emily McDermott is here to join us. It's so much fun. So grab your coffee and hey, let's get started.
Yeah, I got my tea here and it's actually a little warmer than it has been. We had lots of snow here in Northern Virginia, so it was lots of days off, and it was like, I guess they call it snowcrete because it's like concrete because it was snow and then the ice on top.
Gosh,
So
that was awful.
It was pretty awful. Yeah. I did have a brief reprieve that I had a long weekend in Florida visiting my mom and my friend. So that was awesome. I got to go to the beach and hang out at the pool for like 72 hours. But yeah, it was good. It's just, I'm like, okay, I'm ready. Spring, you can come whenever you want. We watched the groundhog Punxsutawney Phil, and then when it was like 6 weeks of winter, it's like, no. And I forget who I was talking to. I think someone in Canada. Yeah. And I think they have their own version of Groundhog Day too, but it's like a different groundhog, obviously. But I thought that was purely like an American thing.
I didn't know it was a worldwide thing that we all have Groundhog Day.
I don't know. There's
even...
groundhogs around the world apparently telling the weather.
Must be accurate. Don't check the news or anything. That information. Just look at the groundhog.
Oh my gosh. So, and then the teacher work days that were previously on the calendar have stayed. So it really has been a situation where it has been very abnormal for the kids to be in school like an entire week. And they'll literally be like, oh, do we have school today? I'm like, yes, it's Wednesday. They're like, oh, is there no delay? There's no delay. You go to school for the whole day. But it's a very foreign concept to them. And of course, in a month or so, we have a week of spring break. So that's kind of where we're at, huh?
I know. It's crazy. I was just talking to friends who were like trying to figure out summer and thinking about school, and they have to get work done. And she's a medical professional. So she works in the medical field, and she's like, I don't have like all summer off, like most of us. How do you manage your kids while you're trying to get actual work done? They're doing homework. But yeah, the snow days is quite interesting because we, of course, don't have any snow days. Our kids would love to have a snow day. Every day they wake up and they're like, can we just have school like another day or maybe later? My middle one was like, can we just move it? I'm really good from like 12 to 12. Can we just do that set of time? And I'm like, we can't. No, sorry. Not everybody runs on that clock.
No.
Sorry. I know. And the worst is when their school class starts every day. It starts at a different time. So it's like 8 o'clock, 8:45, 9 o'clock, 9:35. And so, but we, like normal working people, have like, oh, I have a meeting at like 9 o'clock. I need to get you to school by this time because I got to jump on this thing. So oftentimes we end up just driving them and they just have to hang out in the library or on campus like an hour early before school starts. They hate it. It's cold. None of my friends are here. I'm like, we're sorry. Maybe you can get some homework done.
Yeah, I know that we're kind of in a very unique situation in that if we continue to live here, if we don't move, then the boys need to change schools because they're kind of reworking the boundaries. However, my oldest could choose to stay where he is. The problem being he would not have a bus to take him there, and the schedule is different. It's like 30 to 40 minutes different as far as like when school starts and ends between the two schools. So I am just kind of foreseeing this like logistical nightmare. I don't want to deal with that, So it's tough because he's saying, my oldest, oh, well, my friends are all here. I want to stay here. And I understand that. But it's kind of like, I don't know. As parents, we want to support our kids and do what we can for our kids. But there's a certain point where it's like, no, I can't jump through all of these hoops and then still be able to do the things that we need to do, as parents. And so, yeah, right now we haven't been able to plan for the summer. We haven't signed up for any summer camps because we don't know where we're going to be. And for me, that fills me with a lot of anxiety because I like to have structure and I like to plan and I like to know that my kids aren't going to be home for the whole summer being like, I'm bored. I don't know what to do. I'm bored. So yeah, that is sort of a wrench in the normal flow of things, like where we would be right now, because camp registrations around here are usually like January, February. Rarely they'll wait until March, but most people, they kind of have that all set. And I'm like, okay, I don't know where we're going. I don't know where we're going to be. And that's really tough for me. So that's been a challenge to be able to think like, okay, what is it going to, like to your point, what is it going to look like if the kids are home? Like, how are we going to make that work if I'm maybe have clients or, my husband has meetings or whatever? And how are we going to have it that the kids aren't like, no, we're not all miserable.
Right. That you have maybe some structure or something that they're doing that's making them excited and also allows you to work. Yeah. I know we used to go to, I think now I could probably do it, but we used to have a pool that we were part of. And so there was a lifeguard on duty. So we could go there and hang out at the pool and I could get some stuff done. It's not as useful as being home. And oftentimes it was hard to drag like my laptop, but I could do a lot on my phone or I could save the things that I needed to do at the pool if I could. But it is tricky. And as you're right, like a lot of camps fill up or places fill up. We looked at our favorite place and it was about, I think, December and it was completely full. Like for the week we wanted to go. And I'm like, this is 6 months in advance. Like I can't be more advanced and it's still full. Like I don't know how to, like it just opened and completely filled up. And it was like, well, I think we'll have to change some plans because I don't think this is going to work.
Yeah, I went through something similar in that my mom and my mother-in-law graciously offered to have the kids staying for a week in the summer in Pennsylvania, regardless of, kind of what our situation is. And I said, oh, great. And we figured out the dates and I was all ready to register them for this camp that they were at last year. But it coincided with me having to get on the plane to go back to Virginia. So I'm like, well, I'll just go on there a couple hours later. Like, it's fine. And there was no way to register for these camps. And so I emailed the point of contact and she said, we literally were filled in 1 minute. And then we had a wait list that we capped at 50 people. Is this like a Taylor Swift concert? Like, what's going on? This is just like a summer camp.
Just
and
camp.
I know. So yeah, it's like definitely very competitive, which seems kind of weird, but so I'm not really sure. I mean, I'm sure that there's some things that I could get them into perhaps last minute or something like that, but that's also a lot of work and effort. So I think I'm going to have to, depending on my husband's job situation, do some kind of structured stuff here. Came up with something a while back that was like 3 before TV or like 3 before screens or whatever, which was essentially you're doing each of these activities for maybe like 30 minutes or so, reading, playing with Legos, you play a game with mom, variety of different things. And then, okay, we can take a break and you can watch some YouTube for a bit. But just so there are some non-screen activities that were being kind of structured throughout the day, because if my kids are left to their own, devices, they'll stay on their devices. And so we don't really want that. No matter how much I want to be able to get things done around the house or to get work done. They also help with cleaning. So that's helpful. Like that's something that could be done. And then some of those life skills, I know we've talked about it before, but just kind of like, it's probably a good opportunity to have them get involved in some of these things like cooking or things that, again, take effort on my part, which I'm not super thrilled about. But on the other hand, it's like, okay, it's like having a camp at home, which is kind of a lot of work. It's perhaps
Kind of a lot of work.
yeah, I mean, it's perhaps what I'm going to have to do if I can't have them in actual camps. But then having some time like, okay, us setting our own boundaries. Okay, I want to be able to work from like 1 to 3 o'clock. So maybe we have a movie in the afternoon or something like that. Yeah, it's definitely challenging and I'm kind of dreading it. But I think as long as there's a plan and some structure in place, my kids will be okay. It's when it's just free for all that they complain about being bored and then end up wrestling each other.
Yeah. Summer. Yeah. And then you're like, fine, here, just take this so that I can work. And then they're on their devices. And then you're like, I'm an awful mom. I'm going to putting them on their devices. But then you just need a few minutes. Yeah. We came up with, I think it's like a list of summer rules and we kind of revamp it every once in a while. But it's like, you have to have breakfast before 10 o'clock because they would just wake up at whatever time and then just eat breakfast and then eat nothing after that. They would just eat sugar all day long. So they had to like the kitchen is open and closed during certain times. You have to like eat lunch. We also had the rule of like you have to go outside for X amount of time. You have to be reading for X amount of time. You have to do some other activity that's not a screen for X amount of time. And then you can have this amount of time for screens. So it helped a lot just in structure and expectations because then we didn't get as frustrated at each other of like, no, I just cleaned up the kitchen and now you want more food. Like, I just finished this. Or you're trying to move to the next portion of your day or what's happening in your day. And like, it just feels like it's not working. Like there's cogs that are just not spinning. Everything's like stuck. So having a structure was super helpful. We also had camps from our school. I don't know if your school does it, but we have like camps that our school does. And those were super helpful because those were never booked up. And we could always get from the school or the city, county kind of area. They always had camps or like youth kind of camps. And those were never all the way booked.
Yeah, I'll have to keep that in mind. I think they do something at the school that I forget about a lot, but it'll be nice to have like an option. I'm hoping within the next couple months we have some clarity as to whether we're staying or moving or what's going on. But I remember you saying before about kind of like having a prepared lunch or having like a packed lunch or something like available when you're at home. And I think I'm going to at least some days of the week, like if I know there's definitely things I want to get done, then to make sure that there's like sandwiches ready. And then normally my kids just have like cut up veggies or fruit that I already have like ready. And they're old enough that they can get that out or like wash the berries or whatever. So I think that that'll be good because you're right. I mean, having those boundaries around when the kitchen's open and closed, but then also giving them a little bit more autonomy as to being able to prepare the food themselves during the day. So you're not like constantly in and out of the kitchen.
Yeah, that's the part I hated. I was like, I just finished my kind of morning routine. I sat down to like, okay, I'm going to get a couple, like answer emails or get this project done that I need to work on. And then 5 minutes later, it would be like, we're hungry and lunch. And so it was great we'd make lunches the same as we did during the school year. We make them at dinner time because that's the time we have all the food out. So we're making the lunch the night before and then we just it's in their lunchbox in the fridge. And then they can just pull it out. They can eat it in the kitchen. They can go outside. They can go to the park. Like it makes it really versatile. And then especially if we did go somewhere like the pool or something, it was all ready to go. We could just pull it out and toss it in a bag.
Yeah, I think the other thing I want to do is a little bit of research in the neighborhood as to who's having their kids in like full day camps versus maybe people that either aren't doing camps or they're just doing part day camps. So I can be like, oh, let's meet up at the pool for a little bit in the afternoon, because that's the other thing. Like my boys get sick of each other real quick. But then if their friends are at full day camps because of childcare reasons or whatever, it makes it a little challenging, because I can't be like, just go play with your friends, because they don't have any friends that are available. So I want to do a little bit of research on the front end of that too. And I mean, I'm not a huge fan of when they have people over, because it just ends up being very loud and crazy and not conducive to getting anything done. That being said, it's something that is kind of like a necessary evil, especially in my opinion. If you are going to have having my kids going to someone else's house, I don't want it to be like that one-sided thing. So just seeing if there's some folks that aren't like in these full day camps, so maybe we can do like a morning or afternoon, not swap, but just be kind of strategic about it, rather than it's 2:00 in the afternoon and Sean's like, oh, can I play with my friend? And then I just text the parents and they're there for like an hour. So just to have something a little bit more planned in advance, like if there's something I really want to be able to do for a block of time, and seeing if there's another parent that's willing to do kind of like a swap of sorts. I think I'm going to have to get creative this summer.
Yeah. And along with that, you could say, maybe you figure out your work and you map out like every Friday afternoon, I'm free. So you could say, I'm working, but Friday afternoons I have available if you want them to come over, and always offer that one time as a time zone. So then you could know that, okay, these other days I'm going to get stuff done, and maybe Sean's going to somebody's house those days. They can come over on Friday, and then you can kind of schedule your work a little bit better.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. And then also the kids kind of know what to expect too. Like if it's like, oh, well, we're always having someone here on Wednesday and then I go to their house on Friday or something like that. I think that is helpful, because then they're not like, otherwise it's like just the same thing. They're like, what are we doing today? What are we doing today?
Right.
And I mean, I have the meals listed, but I don't want to have like daily schedule listed every day. I think that won't go very well. But yeah, having some of that loose structure in place for my own sanity. And yeah, I mean, my husband right now, it's been helpful in that he's been able to really pitch in, because with him looking for work, there's only so many hours a day you can be looking for work. So he's been able to help with a lot of things like around the house and with the kids and whatever. And of course, if I needed a break or something, just to be able to be like, hey, can you just take the kids to the pool for, a couple hours? I'm really lucky that we have kind of that flexibility to be able to do that, because otherwise like I said, I either get really anxious about just like hours and hours of unplanned time, or I get kind of resentful when the boys are just like bouncing off the walls, and it's just, I don't show up as my best self. So I just like having some planned options for them in advance that hopefully they'll be excited about.
I love that. But yes, planned options. Now, does your neighborhood, I know our in-laws, their neighborhood sends out the cutest little newsletter, and it has all the kids in the neighborhood and different jobs they're willing to do.
No, I've never
Like,
heard of that.
Tina loves to pet sit, and she also waters plants. And if you need somebody to pick up your mail or do some yard work, Peter can do that. And so it lists all the kids, and then if they can babysit, or if they can, all kinds of little odds and ends jobs that you might have. Take care of your pet, take your dog for a walk or whatever it is. So it's so cute. They have like a little newsletter, and on the back it has all the kids and all their like phone numbers and what they can do. So if you want to schedule somebody, you can contact them. So I thought that was so cute that they had that over the summer, and that if you need some help, you're going to be gone, you could contact a kid to watch your house.
Yeah, I love that. I don't think our neighborhood is maybe in that spot, or that would be a lot of coordination, which I don't know if anyone is willing to do. But that being said, I do know that my boys were interested in shoveling, especially Sean. He really liked doing the snow shoveling. So I'm wondering if he was given the opportunity to do something Like, I don't know about walking a dog. My kids are kind of, I don't know why, but they're afraid of kind of bigger dogs. So we're working on that, but maybe some plant watering or something like that. Just seeing if there's anyone that I know, like on the block or with my mom friends, like, oh, they
Yeah.
can come. Yeah, water your plants if you need.
Kids got excited about that idea. I think it was last summer. So they made flyers about we are really great dog walkers and we would love to walk your dog. They wanted a dog and we are not getting one. So they decided the best was if they could get paid for hanging out with a dog, that would be like next best thing. So they made little flyers and then they distributed them all over the place and put them all in people's mailboxes and all kinds of stuff like that. And I think they only had like a couple people who are interested, but the idea was if you need somebody to walk your dog and you don't want to do it, we're happy to walk your dog.
Yeah. And that kind of goes back to the life skills thing, just kind of like using, I mean, of course, if they get paid, that's great. And that's an incentive for them, but just giving them opportunity for some different responsibilities and kind of seeing how that goes. I think, especially now, I mean, Andrew's going to be 10, which is shocking to me to have someone in double digits soon, but he'll be 10 in May and he keeps asking for, oh, I want to have a sleepover and I want that, and we're like, okay, well, if that's what you want, then we need to have you take on some more responsibility at home and within the family and that kind of thing. So that's an evolving process. But I think when you say it in terms of, oh, well, if you really want to be able to, go see a movie with your friends or like have people over for a sleepover, then you need to show us that you can do some of these basic things like at home, like always bring your dishes over and put them actually in the dishwasher because you're old enough to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I have referenced it a couple times, but I was at a parenting conference in San Diego and I met with David Thomas and Sissy Goff. And they said, okay, well, think of two things that you are doing right now that your kids could do. And then think of two things that your kids can almost do and stop doing all four of them. And I
Oh,
was
I love
like,
that.
oh, yeah, that's convicting.
Yeah. And I think for me, and I know I'm not alone, a lot of times we're just on autopilot. So we're like,
So much
oh,
so.
like I'll just do it myself or I'll just do it myself. And sometimes just like the effort, like for example, if Sean has I keep talking about Sean, both of them though. If they have a snack and then they're done with the snack and then they run upstairs or downstairs or whatever. And I'm like, guys, you left your plates here. But then it's just this effort of like, where are they? And bring them down and do what you're supposed to do. And part of me is just like, I'll just put it in the dishwasher. Like, it's fine.
Right.
But of
Yeah.
course, that isn't helping us in the long run. And I have to remind myself that some of this extra work on the front end really does help everybody on the back end. So yeah, I mean they are getting more involved, and like I said, when it comes more to like the cleaning, when I was away for the weekend, that's normally when we do our cleaning, and when I came back, like the laundry and the cleaning was done and Pat had done it with the kids and I was like,
Magic.
I know. I was thrilled about that. And then I'm like, okay, get them more involved in the cooking. But I definitely need to watch some YouTube videos about kids and knife skills because I'm still a little nervous about just handing over. Like
I'm always nervous when they cut an apple. I'm like, like that. My husband's like, it's okay, let them learn. And my son's like cutting the apple, and I'm like, I can't. I'm like, my heart's like in my head. Like I can't watch you cut the apple.
and then of course when we make these noises like, then they're like,
Right,
startled.
mom.
Yeah, that is an area where I definitely have been like, oh, it's just easier for me. Oh, it's just easier to do it myself. But I mean, for their breakfast, they can forage pretty well themselves and be able to put something in the toaster or the microwave or whatever. But it is more of like that knife skills. So that might be something that if we're going to be home, we're going to work on safe knife skills as part of our
safe knife skills. That's what we're going to learn this week, children. Safe knife skill.
I know
skills.
they'll be like, wait, what does this mean? Because they love their Nerf guns and like all these other
Yep.
like, that sounds cool. Knife skills. And I'm like, no, safe knife skills. Cutting an apple. We're not throwing knives at each other.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
Yeah. I do feel like what you said before of like, if it's like camp at home, you're teaching the kids and you're still running the camp. So you feel like I did not get a break. I didn't get to do my work because I was running camp for these children. So I remember one friend who just focused on one thing a week. And it wasn't like, we're just going to focus on how to clean the bathroom really well, or we're just going to focus on how to prep for a meal. What do you need to do? And that, so I think that took a lot of the pressure off of thinking like you have to do all these things and teach them all these things because it can get overwhelming. And then, but I don't have any time by myself to work and get these other things done.
Yeah. And they kind of shut down too sometimes if it's just like too much. But I do like that kind of having like one focus for the week. And then my friend in the neighborhood is really good about this, but she is more proactive about like, oh, I'm going to go to like take the kids to a museum this week or something. So I think some of these activities in the area that we don't normally do or don't normally think about doing, maybe just having like one of those a week or every couple weeks. So it's not just like, oh, we're at home and we're at the pool and we're at the playground and then we're just kind of in our rut. And especially if we end up moving, of course, there's a lot of great things in the Washington, D.C. area that normally I don't take advantage of because of like traffic and I just don't want to deal with the crowds. But it would be a good reason, like if we know for sure that we're moving to do some of these things before we would move, and wouldn't be so close to like the Air and Space Museum and some of these things.
Right. Do you guys take the metro into DC?
Yeah, if we go to something like that, then normally we would. Some of the other ones, they do have like parking on site, the ones, some of them in Northern, Virginia. So I would drive to those. But yeah, the boys, I mean, we've taken them on the metro before and they enjoy it. It's just that summer tends to be like high tourist season for
Right.
DC. So that's the only, I guess, drawback. But I think there's even things like even close to us that they wouldn't mind going on a hike, like at a park that we wouldn't normally go to. Again, that just requires some planning and then the like desire and interest to go outside your normal comfort zone to do something new. But when they're driving me crazy when we're at home all the time, that is usually my motivation. I'm like, we need to try something different and new and get these kids out of the house. And so, yeah.
Maybe you could make it like a adventure. Every week we're going to have one, pick a day that's your adventure day. And like that day, each person gets to rotate. What do they want their adventure to be? And it can't be screens. It can't be at home. Because my kids would be like, my adventure, I would like to play on my laptop for 4 hours.
Yeah, my kids would do that too. Yeah, I really like that idea, and then giving them some ownership over it and kind of what we would do. Of course, with Pat job searching, we're trying not to like spend a lot of extra money on activities. But even if it was like a free place where we're hiking or whatever, then getting like an ice cream or something where you can kind of pair like a little something special with something that might be a free activity. So yeah, you're making me feel better about the summer.
And a lot of museums have like the first day in March is free. The first day of the month is free, or every second Tuesday is free. Or sometimes they have those odd days where if you're a tourist, you're not going to be, you may or may not catch that day. But if you live there, you could plan, hey, this is the day we'll go. And probably it is more busy that day. But if you're worried about spending money, maybe you go.
Yeah. And we are going to see Forrest Frank in June. So I'm taking the boys. So I'm very excited about that. The only other concert we went to was Weird Al because they love Weird Al. So I'm excited about having like an outdoor sort of summer concert experience with them. And just personally, like especially for them with like a Christian artist that they're always asking to listen to his music in the car and everything. And so that is something that's right after the end of school. So, and then they get to like stay up late that night because the concert won't be done till late. And it's something that we're looking forward to is kind of like the kickoff to summer, I guess. And it's nice to have some of those things, like some of those anchor points within the summer of things that you can look forward to and remind them that it's coming up and it's something we're excited about.
Yeah, I love that. The idea of like, and I love doing that too, of like, this is our kickoff for summer. And then also to have like, as much as you can, like a runway to get back into school. That one, usually we need like a couple weeks. I've found that their school usually starts early August. Maybe they have a week and then it starts in August. So I've just found that we can't plan anything for summer in August. Like August is just done. We have tried to plan a trip like right before they start school, like, oh, there's our last vacation days. And it never works out well because then we come back, they haven't prepped for school, they don't have their supplies, they don't know their classes, they feel unorganized and kind of like, oh, so they need that like ramp up time to, I think, get excited about school and get more excited about, I'll see these friends and I'll have these classes and I'll do these things. In that, I think it's really fun to have like maybe a couple dates or a fun place you all go to dinner or, kind of talk about what are you excited about for this next season.
Yeah. And I like the idea also of getting back into the rhythm of, okay, we're going to have more consistent bedtimes and we're going to have more consistent kind of structure to our day to, like you said, have that runway so that when they start school again and have to get up, in my kids' case, it's never an issue because they're already up early. But, it won't be so much of a shock to the system when they have to be up at 7 something in the morning and being able to transition them over a couple weeks. It would be helpful for that too. Yeah, that reminds me. I think I brought this up before, but Rochelle Crawford, she's at Abundant Life with Les, and she wrote this book, How to Be Busy, and she talks about bubble wrapping your seasons. So that's kind of like the runway concept, but just really like, okay, like our school, I think starts August 15th, 17th, something like that. So just knowing August 1st, like, all right, we're going to be knowing what's ahead and start putting some of those things in place so that it starts to feel more like that back to school focus. Because yeah, my kids don't like they're not good with like quick transitions with anything.
Mine aren't either. Nope.
Like anything. It's even like, okay, it's time
Yeah.
to wake up and like you have, 20 minutes before you have to be on the bus and like, like this just it's so much better for them when they have more buffer time to kind of like
Yeah.
get used to things and to get things done. Because my Sean, I don't know, he loses focus often if he's by himself. So he likes to have someone there, like making sure he kind of goes through the steps of his day in the morning and then he's okay. But he's one that gets very dysregulated if he can't do the steps in the time frame he would like. Like if he feels rushed or feels like he's being pressured, then he gets really upset about that. So we've learned, okay, he's a kiddo that just needs a little bit of extra time. And so my husband and I know that about him, just to be able to build that into our day, but then also kind of build that into our weeks as we're preparing for like a next season. Especially since this move might be a really big, different kind of season for us. We'll have to figure out how to sort of prep them and prepare for all that.
Yeah. It's tricky though when you don't know exactly what's happening or when it is. It's hard to prepare for that. So you just have to go along like, okay, well, this is where we are and we'll just prepare for what we know. But yeah, knowing that about your kid is huge because you know that, okay, he needs a little bit more runway and that makes him happier. He's probably able to process things a little bit better. He's probably thinking through lots of different things. And so moving through that pace is easy for him. We have other kids who all three of them. One of the boys get up, I think 45 minutes before they need to leave. And Ashley gets up, I think an hour before. She takes a little bit longer to get ready, but the boys get ready and then they like to go downstairs and they read their book and they have their cereal, so they have like a whole routine. And if it gets crunched, like, okay, we gotta leave, they're not happy and things get left at home and people forget stuff and it just starts their day all kind of jumbled.
Yeah. And I'm still working with them on when it's time to come downstairs. Like, do you have socks? Do you have your water bottle? Like, if you want a sweatshirt, do you have the sweatshirt, instead of them having to go up and down the stairs like multiple times? But if the routine gets crunched in the morning, then they're like, where are my socks? Why didn't you bring down my water bottle? And then I'm like, it's not my responsibility. You're supposed to do that. So I think it just kind of has, I don't know, implications for the tone of the day too. So I am a big fan of like long runways when it comes to my kids.
And even, as you said, bubble wrapping like vacations. And we learned we have to bubble wrap, those kind of transitions. And when they go to camp, I didn't think it was a big deal, but we actually started automatically bubble wrapping camp. Like the day that we go, we all have dinner in Santa Cruz together without the kid who is at camp. And that's like kind of a fun, like, what are you looking forward to this week? And so-and-so's not going to be here and blah, blah, blah. And then we have a time at Starbucks, of course, getting coffee like on the back end. And the kid can then adjust and tell us all about camp and kind of download everything. And then we finish the drive home, which is like a good hour. And by the time we get home, then they're able to like, okay, settle back in. But we found those two are like really helpful. It helps all of us kind of adjust to that transition of either so-and-so's gone at camp, they're not here, it's not normal, or they're back and how did it go?
Yeah, it's like allowing space for the different emotions that they'll be feeling. And we haven't talked a ton about moving with the boys. It's just more like a possibility. But since they're going to have to potentially change schools anyway, if we're here, it's already, we're in February. It's already bringing up a lot of big feelings about like, oh, we're not going to be with my friends. And when am I going to see these people? And so I'm noticing that, yeah, they're already kind of having big emotions about some of these transitions. So just being able to kind of talk through it with them, like validate. Just an example that is coming to mind. Normally I lay with Sean before he goes to bed and we do song and then a prayer. And then for the prayer, normally we're talking about like what went well and, what we wish went differently and who we want to pray for. And I'm tired, right? So I'm trying to like get through the prayer. Like, let's just move it along. And then he'll just kind of sometimes be quiet. And I want to be like, okay, what's the next thing? Like, are we saying amen yet? Like, what is this happening? And he'll say something like, oh, I'm really sad because my friend Hudson said he didn't want to be friends anymore. Like, he'll bring something up that wasn't part of my perfect little prayer plan. And it's like, oh, and to just be able to hold space for that and to be able to talk through that and knowing that, kids have big emotions at all ages, but they're becoming increasingly aware of their peers and the approval of their peers and why that's so important to them. And I think that as a parent, that's something that I want to make sure they know that they can talk to us about and we can come up with ideas of how we can approach that situation. So I have to remind myself not to just kind of like go through the checklists of like, but to actually have that space and time to process some of that stuff with them. And I'm sure you go through quite a bit of that given the ages of your kiddos.
Yeah, it's usually in the car, like on the way back from school, because we have a long commute, I say long, it's like 30 minutes with traffic, maybe 20 minutes without traffic, but it's a good fair amount of time that we're in the car. So we all share, or I have them share their sparkle, what went well, their farkle, and then what didn't go well. And then a narkle, which is something that is weird or that kind of happened in their day that was kind of strange or kind of doesn't fit into a category. And so sometimes the boys will share one word of what it was, like weekend, homework, my friends, and okay. And then you have to ask some more questions. My daughter will share like a lot. And so she's great because she will often share things. And then the other two pipe up like, oh, yeah, and I remember this. And so then they talk through that. But yeah, they have to like talk through their day, kind of what has happened and what we're doing, what they're excited about. And it gets them a little bit more okay, we're ready to kind of come home and chill and be there. But they kind of need that. I just went through all day with school and this is all the things that happened.
I like that structure. That's really cute. I haven't heard about that before, but I do know it's good to ask the questions in a way that they can't give like a one-word answer. Because even at the dinner table, we're like, it's like typical parent question. How was school? Good. What did you do? Stuff, and that's never helpful. But just being able to say something like, oh, what was your favorite part of the day? Like, or what specials did you have today? Because they have a different special every day. Like, oh, we had PE. Oh, okay. What are you learning? Oh, we're doing hula hooping. I don't know. So it's just sometimes, you have to kind of pull some of that stuff out. But then if you get on a subject that they're really kind of excited about or something that's been kind of like on their heart and mind, it's always nice when they're like forthcoming, especially with the boys, forthcoming with the information, and you realize like, oh, that was really something that was either weighing on them or something that they really wanted to share. So yeah, I love that that's kind of like, because that 20 to 30 minutes could be used in any sorts of ways. Normally my kids are like, the minute they get in the car, can we listen to Weird Al? Can we listen to Forrest Frank? And I'm like, okay. But sometimes I say, no, I want to just chat, and kind of see how your days were and everything, instead of having to be constantly entertained or have something like in the background going on all the time, and to allow for that download of information, like you said.
Yeah. Sometimes we have music, sometimes we don't. Oftentimes it's from now, since they're older, they have a phone. And so that they have Spotify, and then they create their own little playlist. So often they want to play their specific music by Forrest Frank or other people, and they want to play it. So I'm like, that's fine, whatever, as long as, and we'll turn it down if we're talking. And sometimes they don't ask to play it. So I just leave it and we just talk. So it depends on how the conversation is going, how they're feeling. The other thing I found that helps is having snacks and water. And then also telling my boys, I gave you snacks. You have to talk. Like, I gave you food. That's the reward. You now have to tell me information.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Probably 2 Fridays a month, I go and I help stuff the Friday folders in the classroom. But I do it when the kids are at lunch or recess. And occasionally I'll see Sean, not always. But today I told him for weeks, you need to bring your snack containers home. Like we have like the little, plastic containers with the lids that he puts his goldfish in. And they just were disappearing. I'm like, I know this kid has like 5 of these containers because he likes his snacks. So today when I was there, I totally did a flashback to when I was in elementary school and I would organize kids' desks during recess for like a quarter, and I organized my own kid's desk. And I found 2 snack containers in addition to a lot of other stuff. I didn't throw anything away. It was just more like sorting things a bit. And then I left a little sticky note for him saying, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Love, Mom. P.S. I organized your desk. So I'm interested in that. I know.
It's like your inner self coming out. It's your skill that you're good at, and it brings you joy. You just do it automatically.
I do. And yesterday he was so cute. He's like, Mom, I want you to talk to me all about decluttering. And I'm like, okay. It's cute that he has like Andrew's more concerned about how many YouTube subscribers I have because, he wants to be a YouTuber. But Sean, usually he's more like curious about that kind of stuff. But yeah, I was like, okay, you love your snacks and I appreciate it, but all the containers are gone. Like we need some of these to be coming home. So I'm glad I was able to find them.
Yeah. Oh, it's all the things. All the things. With that, yeah, our kids have also like left things at home that they need at school. And because it's so far away, we're like, I'm sorry. Like you have money on your lunch card that you could buy lunch if you forgot your lunch. Or one time one forgot water. And I said, well, just buy some water from the store. Like we're not making a 30-minute drive, an hour commute to like bring you water. One kid forgot graham crackers that they had to bring for some event. And I was like, too bad. Like we're not driving all the way over. And my husband's so sweet. He's trying to figure out, well, I have this meeting, you have this meeting. Maybe I could go at this time and then I could come back. And I'm like, you would just be going at lunchtime. And then by the time you get back at 1 o'clock, one of us has to leave at 2 o'clock or 2:15 to like turn around and go get them again. Like it makes no sense. They can deal. So, she borrowed some from another kid who had brought graham crackers or there was extra. And so it turned out it wasn't a big problem, but it was like those learning times where you're like, as you said before, like, I'm not going to drop everything for you to, like, you forgot the graham crackers. I can't go get them for you.
Yeah, and I've read in some parenting books or I've heard before that if kids get used to kind of that disappointment or having to be resourceful or figuring that out for like the small things, then they're able to handle some of the bigger disappointments and bigger things that might come. So I haven't had a lot of situations like that so far where, I mean, they don't have phones, so they would have to go to the office to like call me about forgetting something. But I do hope that I'm going to be the parent that's like, it's okay, like you're going to figure it out. Or even if it's like homework or something, like, okay, well, this is why we put our homework in our backpack the night before, and just having them have to be uncomfortable and like learning some of these lessons, because I think in general, a lot of parents in our kind of generation or even a little bit older than us, they've been the helicopter parents. We're just kind of swoop in and fix everything.
Right.
And it doesn't, in my opinion, isn't doing them really any favors to do that. So yeah, that is something my husband and I luckily are like on the same page about. We just haven't had a lot of situations where it's come up, but I'm sure we are going to have plenty as they get older.
Yeah. I mean, there's always stuff, right? I feel like in elementary school too, but you're more on top of it since you're usually, maybe you're coming into classroom, as you said, and doing filing things, or you are, sometimes I feel like there's a lot more hands-on in elementary. So if they forget something, you're kind of still the safety net.
Yeah.
But in high school and middle school, there's a lot less hands-on. You don't connect with the teachers as much. You don't go in their classrooms as much. So there's a lot more like, I don't even know what you need to bring. Like, I hope you have that figured out. Yeah. So it all kind of works. All right. As we're kind of wrapping up here and thinking through, we talked through the summer and kind of plan for that and trips and how to hold space for emotions, because we got big emotions that are there by choice or something happens and there's always emotions. So is there anything else that's kind of on your mind or that you're excited about that's coming up?
I mean, as far as being excited, normally my parents come and visit for Easter. And it's a great time that my kids get to just spend time with them. And my dad always likes doing projects. And we have some like low level house projects that if we were to put the house on the market soon, we want to have those things taken care of. So it's nice to have someone that likes to do house projects instead of us having to figure it out or pay somebody. So I think that spring break is something that I'm looking forward to. And yeah, I'm just sort of in a season of kind of holding everything loosely, just kind of trying to go through the day to day. I appreciate that my life is fairly simplified and, having the clutter-free, mostly organized home and simplified schedule helps in a time of transition because it doesn't feel so scary. Like if we were to move, I'm not too anxious about having to pack this place up. I mean, it's not fun, but I feel like what we have here is stuff that we use. So it's just a matter of packing it up. But yeah, I think those are some of the things that I'm kind of focusing on in the season. How about you?
We're starting, let's see. So this week, I'm kind of launching and promoting my group coaching program that's going to start in March. So I'm really excited about that and excited to see what moms want to jump in and do coaching. It's for 3 months. So it's a good amount of time. And then it should end right before the end of school, which is great because it's that whole time. And then you jump into summer, which is a new different animal. So I'm looking forward to that. And then also in March, it's kind of crazy. So March is going to be interesting. The kids have a spring break, but the week before that, their school does service trips for the high school. So my daughter's going to Mexico to go build a house. And my son and my husband are going on the DC trip. So they will be out near you. And then they will have a week of craziness with like 160 kids. And then my youngest one is going to like science camp for 4 days. And so it's just me. And I was like, what am I doing by myself? It's just me. I'm an extrovert and all my people are gone. So I'm going to fly down to San Diego and hang out with my mom. And we will probably do some decluttering and some organization and tossing of stuff. And that's usually what we do when I come down just by myself. We kind of go through things that she wants to get rid of or big projects that she doesn't have people to help her with. And so, yeah, I'll probably go down for a few days and then fly back and pick up the other one from science camp and ease on our trip. But it's kind of funny that everyone has somewhere place that they're going and we're not all connected. Everybody's in a different spot.
Yeah, wow, that'll be exciting. And sounds like there's a lot of great experiences that you guys are going to have over the next month.
Yeah, it should be fun. And then the week afterwards is spring break. And so they're off for that week. And so that week we've already planned it's going to be a calm week. Like I wanted to go somewhere, but my husband was like, do you realize we're all traveling during the week before? Like we're going to be exhausted and everybody's going to want to just chill. So we'll just be home and we're just going to do a day trip every day where each person, since there's 5 days, gets to decide what they want to do. So I think my daughter said she wants to go to Carmel. One of my sons, of course, wants to play video games all day. Each day, somebody has like decision of what do you want to do for a majority of the day.
Oh, I love that. Well, I can't wait to hear the update on what everyone picks for that week.
I know it should be interesting. Well, thanks so much for joining us today. This was fun hanging out as always. And yeah, have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, thanks so much.